She blocked you, and in that instant, everything went quiet. Not the kind of quiet that brings peace, but the kind that hums in your chest, the kind that feels like a question you can't answer. It's strange, isn't it? How one simple action, a single tap on a screen, can carry the weight of rejection, confusion, and loss all at once. You stare at your phone as if staring long enough will change what you see. You refresh the page, you check the chat again, you hope maybe the app is glitching, but deep down, you know it's not. Her name disappears, the messages vanish. And in that moment, it feels like you disappear too. Like all the late-night talks, the shared laughter, the tiny details you thought mattered, were suddenly erased from existence. You sit there, still, not shouting, not even thinking clearly, just numb. Your mind starts rewinding every moment you had together, trying to find the exact second things went wrong. You wonder if you said too much, cared too fast, or simply became too real. You keep asking yourself questions that have no answers because the truth is, you're not looking for logic, you're looking for meaning, and that's what makes it hurt. It's not her silence that breaks you. It's your own thoughts echoing back at you. You start to realize that she hasn't just removed you from her screen, she's triggered a storm inside you that you can't seem to quiet. But here's the secret few ever understand. Her blocking you isn't really about you. It's about what life is trying to show you through her. It's a moment meant to wake you up, to pull you out of your comfort, to test your control. It's the universe handing you a mirror and whispering, "This is where your power begins." Because Stoicism teaches us something simple but hard to live by. We cannot control what happens. We can only control how we respond. She may have taken away contact, but she didn't take away choice. You still decide what this moment means. You still decide whether you fall apart or rise above it. This isn't punishment. It's practice. Practice for patience, for detachment, for peace. It's life giving you a test. Can you stay grounded when something you cared about slips through your fingers? When you see it through that lens, the pain becomes different. It's no longer chaos, it's instruction. Because the real battle was never about her attention. It was about your reaction. And the day you master that, no block, no silence, no rejection will ever have the power to break you again. Lesson 1. Emotion is the first prison. When she blocks you, your mind doesn't stay still. It panics. It starts to spin like a wheel in the mud, throwing thoughts everywhere, but going nowhere. You replay the last words you said, every emoji, every pause in the chat. You check the timestamps of your last messages, wondering if something small, a joke, a delay, a silence, was the reason she left. You look at her name, her picture, her profile, gone. And then you whisper the same question that breaks so many people. Why? What did I do? That's not her trapping you. That's you trapping yourself. She may have pressed a button once, but you've pressed 1,000 buttons since, inside your own mind. You've replayed the story so many times that it's no longer real. It's a movie, one where you cast yourself as the broken one, and her as the one who won. But Stoicism reminds us, pain doesn't come from what happens. It comes from the meaning we attach to it. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgment about them." Her blocking you is just an event, neutral, silent, simple. Your judgment is what turns it into heartbreak. You imagine her laughing, smiling, talking to someone else while you're sitting in silence. You picture her moving on easily while you're left behind, but none of that is proven. It's just imagination, and imagination is the first prison. When you live in those stories, you hand away your peace. You give her your energy, your time, your sleep, even though she's not even there to receive them. She's not the one keeping you stuck. Your own thoughts are. So pause. Breathe. Let your mind settle, like water after a storm. You'll notice something. The more still you become, the clearer everything looks. She blocked you, yes, but you're the one who keeps pressing replay. You're the one giving power to the echo of something that's already gone. A Stoic man learns to see the difference between what happened and what he feels about it. What happened is simple. She blocked you. What you feel is your reaction. One is fact, the other is emotion. And once you can see that difference clearly, the walls of your prison start to crumble. Because the lock was never on the outside. It was in your own hands all along. You can stay trapped, replaying the story over and over, or you can step out of it, calmly, quietly, fully awake. Let it go. Stop feeding the noise inside your head. Every time you choose calm over chaos, stillness over spiraling, acceptance over overthinking, you walk one step closer to freedom. That's where peace begins. Not when she unblocks you, but when you stop blocking yourself. Lesson 2. Control what you can. When she blocks you, the first thing you want to do is fix it. Your instincts tell you to reach out, explain, clear the air. Your fingers hover over your keyboard, thinking of that one message, the one that might make her understand, might undo the silence. Can we just talk? It feels harmless, but deep down, you know it's not the answer. She's not listening right now, not because she suddenly hates you, but because in her mind she's already made a decision, one born from emotion, not logic. Maybe she's angry, confused, or afraid. Whatever it is, it's not something you can control. And that's the part that hurts the most, realizing that no matter how much you care, you cannot control how someone else feels. You can't decide when they understand or when they come back. You can only decide who you'll be while they're gone. This is where most men lose their peace. They start chasing what's already walking away. They refresh pages, create new accounts, check her profile from another phone. They live in reaction instead of reflection. But every time you react to what's beyond your reach, you give away a piece of your power. A Stoic doesn't chase storms. He stands still and lets them pass. He doesn't fight the wind. He adjusts his stance. He knows that peace doesn't come from control. It comes from surrendering to what's real. You can't control her silence. You can't control her decision to block you. You can't control whether she'll remember you tomorrow or forget you by next week. But you can control one thing: the space between what she does and how you respond. That small, quiet space is where your freedom begins. When you resist the urge to reach out, when you stop checking her updates, when you stop writing stories in your mind about what she's doing or who she's with, you begin to take your power back. Because each time you act on impulse, you're giving energy to something that no longer exists. You're handing her your peace like a gift she never asked for. Instead, pause, breathe deeply, detach gently, and just observe. Notice how your emotions rise and fall like waves. At first they're strong, crashing, wild, but over time they calm, soften, and fade. You are not those waves. You are the ocean beneath them, still, steady, and deep. When you stop trying to control her, you start learning to control yourself. And that's the transformation most people never reach, shifting from reaction to reflection, from panic to presence. Real power isn't about changing someone's mind. It's about staying centered when their choices no longer include you. It's about holding your peace when everything in you wants to chase chaos. Because in the end, control isn't about bending the world around you. It's about mastering the world within you. Lesson 3. Her block is her fear. People don't always block you because they've stopped caring. Sometimes they block you because caring too much scares them. They feel something deep, something powerful, something that doesn't fit into their plan. And instead of facing it, they run from it. When emotions grow stronger than logic, people do what feels safe, not what makes sense. Blocking becomes a way to take back control. It's not a punishment, it's protection. a shield against feelings that have grown too heavy to hold. Maybe your presence touched something inside her that she didn't want to confront. Maybe you made her feel seen in a way she never expected. Not the surface-level kind of seen, but truly seen. Maybe you looked at her and made her realize how guarded she's been, how afraid she still is of being hurt again. And that realization was too much. So she does what's easiest. She pulls away. She presses that button, cuts the connection, and convinces herself it's strength. But it's not hate. It's fear. Fear of falling too fast, fear of repeating mistakes, fear of being vulnerable after promising herself she'd never be again, fear of losing control in a world where she only feels safe when she's the one deciding when to stay or leave. To her, blocking feels like power. To you, it feels like rejection. But neither view is the full truth. In reality, it's simply an emotional defense, her way of handling feelings she doesn't understand. The Stoic man sees through both illusions. He knows her emotions are her storm to face. He doesn't chase her into it, trying to save her, trying to fix what she hasn't asked to be fixed. He stands still, calm, grounded, steady. He lets the storm pass without being pulled into it. Because her fear is not your responsibility. You didn't break her, you just touched the part of her that still needs healing. And you cannot heal what refuses to open. You shouldn't lose your own peace trying to pull someone out of chaos they chose to stay in. So let her block you. Let her run, if she must. Because fear is loud, but it always fades. And when it does, she'll look back. She'll remember your stillness. She'll remember that you didn't chase, didn't beg, didn't lose yourself trying to prove something. That calmness will echo louder than any message you could have sent. That composure, that quiet strength, that's what makes you unforgettable. Not your words, not your effort, but your ability to stay centered in the silence she created. And when the fear is gone, when her emotions settle, she'll remember the man who stood still, unmoved, unbothered, unshaken, the one who stayed true to himself when everything else tried to pull him apart. Lesson 4. The power of silence. When she blocks you, every part of you wants to fill the silence. You want to explain what she misunderstood, defend yourself, or remind her of how good things were. You want to send one last message, just to show her that you still care, that you still exist. But silence. Silence is one of life's hardest lessons. Because silence feels like losing. It feels like doing nothing while your heart is shouting. Yet in reality, silence is not weakness. It's discipline. It's the moment when you stop reacting and start understanding. Each time you stay quiet, you teach her something. You show her that you are not desperate for attention, that you do not measure your worth by how fast someone replies, that your peace is not for sale. You show her and yourself that you know the difference between connection and control. The world today teaches the opposite. Everyone rushes to respond, to prove they don't care, to make noise before the silence gets uncomfortable. But a Stoic man moves differently. He doesn't fill the space with words. He fills it with composure. He uses that space to return to himself. Silence is not you ignoring her. Silence is you respecting yourself. It's the breath between emotion and wisdom, the space where you choose dignity over drama. When you stay quiet, you show a kind of power that can't be faked. Because words can be twisted, silence cannot. It becomes something rare, something she doesn't understand. You turn from someone predictable into someone mysterious. And that mystery speaks louder than any message you could send. Your silence carries meaning. It says, I don't chase what runs. It says, I don't need to be seen to have value. It says, I honor your choice, but I honor my peace more. And the longer that silence lasts, the more it echoes. She starts to wonder what you're thinking, if you've moved on, if you ever cared at all. And that's the paradox. Your silence becomes the voice she can't stop hearing. A Stoic doesn't need to win arguments or control the story. He wins by not stepping into battles that don't deserve his energy. He knows that every reaction is a transaction, and not all transactions are worth the cost. So when the world expects you to make noise, choose stillness. When she expects a chase, choose composure. When your heart tells you to reach out, breathe instead. Because silence is a weapon few can carry. It's calm, sharp, and unforgettable. It speaks with a strength that noise can never match. And when she finally understands what your silence truly meant, it won't sound like arrogance. It will sound like peace. And that peace will echo longer than any word ever could. Lesson 5. Reflection, not reaction. When she blocks you, the first thought that hits is always the same. Why did she do this to me? You replay every word, every moment, every silence, searching for logic in something that was never logical. You want reasons, explanations, closure. But that question only traps you inside her choices instead of freeing you into your own growth. So ask a better one. What is this trying to teach me? Because every moment of pain, every heartbreak, every rejection is a teacher. One that doesn't speak softly, but always tells the truth. Maybe you became too attached too quickly. Maybe you let your peace depend on her attention. Maybe you started to forget your purpose the moment she became the center of your world. The block didn't create those problems. It revealed them. Pain has a strange intelligence. It shines a light on the parts of us we try to ignore. It shows us where we're still fragile, still seeking validation instead of peace. And if you're wise, you'll stop taking that pain personally and start taking it seriously. The Stoics taught that nothing outside your control should have power over your soul. If her silence can destroy your calm, if a single click on her phone can unbalance your world, then your peace was never truly yours. That's not love, that's attachment. And that block, it's not your punishment, it's your mirror. Look into it. Not with anger, but with honesty. Ask yourself, did I make her attention my only source of validation? Did I cross my own boundaries just to stay close to her? Did I mistake her presence for purpose? These questions cut deep, but they also heal deep. Because every honest answer rebuilds you from the inside out. It's not about blaming her. It's about understanding yourself. A Stoic doesn't waste his time begging or blaming. He observes, he learns, he grows. He understands that pain isn't always an enemy. Sometimes it's a guide. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to shape you. So don't react. Reflect. Don't chase closure from her. Create clarity within yourself, because once you understand the lesson, the emotion loses its power. It no longer controls you. And one day, you'll wake up and realize something beautiful. You didn't lose her. You found yourself. You found the part of you that doesn't need someone else to feel whole. You found strength in stillness, peace in acceptance. Pain doesn't last forever, but the wisdom it gives you, that stays. It becomes your armor, your calm, your quiet strength. And when the next storm comes, you won't fear it. You'll stand taller because now you know the lesson was never about losing her. It was about finding you. Lesson 6. The real test isn't losing her, it's keeping yourself. When she blocks you, you assume the story has ended. You see that small digital wall, and it feels final, as if connection itself has died. But the truth is, it hasn't ended. It's only changed form. Because the real test of strength doesn't happen when someone is beside you. It begins the moment they're gone. That's where most men lose themselves. They spiral into questions, overthinking, chasing answers that will never come. They try to look strong on the outside while falling apart on the inside. They confuse silence with defeat and self-control with weakness. But a Stoic man knows the difference. He doesn't perform strength. He embodies it. He understands that calm is not the absence of emotion, but the mastery of it. When she blocks you, it's not the end of something. It's the beginning of your discipline. It's life testing you quietly, asking, can you stay calm even when your emotions beg you to react? Can you choose stillness over obsession? Can you love yourself enough to walk away from what no longer chooses you? That's the challenge. That's the battlefield. Not between you and her, but between you and yourself. She may check your profile one day, curious to see if you've moved on. She may scroll through your pictures, hover over that follow button, hesitate, then leave it alone. Maybe she'll feel regret, maybe she won't. But that's not your concern anymore, because your mission isn't to prove something to her. Your mission is to rise above the noise of your own mind, above the temptation to explain, defend, or seek validation. Rise above the illusion that your worth depends on her attention. When she blocked you, she unknowingly gave you a gift, a forced moment of separation, a clean break from the illusion of control. That space she created is sacred. It's where transformation begins. You can fill that silence with bitterness and resentment, or you can fill it with purpose. You can waste time waiting for her to return, or you can build the kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone's presence. Your goal now is simple: to become so steady, so grounded, so centered, that nothing external can shake your internal world again. Because the man who can keep himself when everything around him collapses is a man who becomes untouchable. Not because he's cold, not because he stopped feeling, but because he stopped depending. Freedom isn't about being alone. It's about not needing anyone to feel whole. It's about knowing that peace can't be taken, only surrendered. And when you reach that level of calm, you won't have to prove your strength. You won't have to say a word. Your energy will do the speaking for you, quietly, confidently, unshakably. That's the real test, not whether she comes back, but whether you stayed true to yourself when she left. Because in the end, what you keep matters more than what you lose. And if you can keep your peace, you've already won. Lesson 7. Acceptance is freedom. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you, woven in the pattern of your destiny." It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest truths you'll ever live. When she blocked you, your first instinct was to resist it. You wanted to fix it, explain it, undo it. You wanted to make sense of it, to find a way to restore what once felt whole. But some things in life aren't meant to be fixed. They're meant to free you. If she left, it means her chapter in your story has reached its natural end, at least for now. And that's not failure. It's just the flow of life. Not every person is meant to walk with you forever. Some arrive only to awaken something inside you, to teach you, to shape you, to show you the depth of your own emotions, and then to leave. Their purpose was never to stay. It was to transform you. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. It's not closing your heart. It's opening your hands. It's understanding that life knows what it's doing, even when you don't. Because it's not life that hurts. It's resistance. Every time you replay the past, asking, "Why me?" Every time you imagine her coming back or wish you could change the ending, you pull yourself away from peace. You build walls against what's already gone. You tighten your grip around what was never meant to stay. But the tighter you hold on to what's leaving, the more pain you feel as it slips away. And the moment you loosen that grip, something shifts. You start to breathe again. Don't resist what life removes. Because sometimes letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength in its quietest form. It's trusting that what's meant for you will find you, and what's not will fade, no matter how much you fight. What's truly meant to stay will never need to be chased, and what's meant to go will never bring peace if it returns. So stop forcing, stop replaying, stop reaching. When you finally accept, you create space. Space for peace, for growth, for new beginnings you couldn't have seen while holding on to the old. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's leveling up. It's choosing faith over frustration. It's choosing presence over the past. It's saying, I trust that what's leaving is making room for something better. So sit with the silence. Let the ache exist without trying to erase it. Let the memories settle without rewriting them. You'll find that peace doesn't come when everything feels right. It comes when you stop demanding that it must. And one day, you'll look back and realize, the block didn't break you. It rebuilt you. It stripped away illusion, pride, and attachment until only truth was left. The truth that nothing outside of you was ever truly yours to keep. And that real power, real freedom, isn't found in holding tighter, but in letting go completely. That's what Stoicism teaches. That's peace. That's freedom. So next time you get blocked, don't see it as rejection. See it as redirection, a quiet turn in your path that leads you back to yourself. Because life never takes without giving. It only shifts your focus from what distracted you to what develops you. You were never meant to control who stays or who leaves. You were meant to master something far more powerful, how deeply you remain centered when they do. That's where real peace begins. When someone walks away and you don't crumble, when you refuse to chase what already chose distance, you rise above the storm that others drown in. And in that stillness, you become something rare in a world addicted to noise. You become calm, composed, and whole. Because the man who can stay still when everything around him falls apart is the man who becomes unforgettable. He doesn't need to beg to be remembered. He's remembered because he remained steady when others broke under pressure. And when she thinks of you, and she will, it won't be the memory of the man who pleaded for attention that lingers. It'll be the image of the man who stood his ground, the one who faced silence and didn't flinch, the one who carried dignity in the face of pain, unmoved, unbothered, unbreakable. That isn't arrogance. That's mastery. That's what true Stoicism looks like when it's lived, not just quoted. It's not about hiding your emotions. It's about holding them, feeling them fully without letting them own you. It's not about pretending you're fine. It's about being fine because you trust yourself to handle whatever comes. You see, life will keep testing your composure. It will take people, plans, and peace, just to show you what was never truly yours to begin with. But every test has the same question hidden underneath. Will you react or will you rise? So, when she blocks you, don't curse the moment. Smile, softly, knowingly. Because life just handed you a lesson wrapped in discomfort. And if you learn it well, it will serve you forever. When you choose calm over chaos, when you rise instead of react, you don't just heal, you evolve. That's Stoicism. That's strength. That's peace. And once you reach that level of peace, you'll realize you were never losing her. You were finding you.